Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Contessa Metcalfe's friendship was once one of the most admired bonds in the world of reality TV. They were more than just castmates, they were friends who supported each other through tough times and celebrated each other's victories. Fans of the show saw them as a pair who had each other's backs no matter what. Their relationship was a highlight of the series, with both women offering a mix of humor, wisdom, and emotional support to one another. But as time passed, it became clear that the friendship was crumbling. What once seemed like a solid, unbreakable bond quickly turned into one of the most dramatic and painful fallouts in reality television history. It wasn't a small disagreement that caused the rift between them, it wasn't something that could be swept under the rug. The fracture between Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Contessa came about as a result of a series of public betrayals, shocking revelations, and a breakdown of trust. The most significant turning point occurred when Dr. Heavenly made a very controversial comment about Dr. Contessa's marriage. And this wasn't a comment shared in private between friends, no, this was a statement made on Dr. Heavenly's YouTube channel, broadcasted for all to see. It all started innocently enough. Dr. Heavenly was doing a live stream, engaging with her fans, answering questions in her usual, no-holds-barred style. But then, one subscriber asked a loaded question: do you think Dr. Scott Metcalfe is abusive toward Contessa? This question was delicate, and it required a careful, thoughtful response. Instead of sidestepping the question or offering a diplomatic answer, Dr. Heavenly made a comment that would change everything. She boldly stated that she believed Dr. Scott Metcalfe, Dr. Contessa's husband, had been verbally and mentally abusive toward her. Now, while Dr. Heavenly might have felt that she was speaking out of concern for her friend, the reality was that her words were a betrayal. These weren't just private opinions, this was a public accusation, one that would forever alter their relationship. And to make matters worse, Contessa didn't hear these comments in private. She didn't get a heads-up or a warning from Dr. Heavenly. Instead, she learned about it the same way everyone else did, by seeing it online. The very woman who had been her closest friend had just publicly aired her private struggles for the world to judge, gossip about, and criticize. Dr. Contessa was blindsided by this public betrayal. It felt like a violation of her trust. Her marriage, one of the most sacred aspects of her life, was now a topic of public discussion. The pain of this violation ran deep, and it wasn't something that could be easily fixed with a simple apology. She confronted Dr. Heavenly, expressing just how hurt she was by what had happened. But instead of receiving a heartfelt apology or acknowledgement of the harm caused, Dr. Heavenly stood firm in her position. She didn't back down. In fact, she seemed to justify her actions, which only made the situation worse. From that point on, the dynamic between them changed. Their friendship was no longer the same. The deep emotional wound caused by Heavenly's words was something that Contessa couldn't ignore. She had believed that certain things, certain boundaries, were off-limits, especially when it came to personal matters like her marriage. But Dr. Heavenly had crossed that line, and it was clear that things would never be the same between them. The fallout wasn't just between the two women, it affected the entire group. Fellow cast members took sides, either defending Dr. Heavenly's right to speak her truth or supporting Dr. Contessa's claim that Heavenly had crossed a line. In the midst of all this chaos, there was no clear resolution. Both women tried to move on, but their hurt feelings and unresolved issues continued to bubble under the surface. As the weeks passed, it became clear that the damage done was deep and perhaps irreversible. But Dr. Contessa wasn't willing to let things go that easily. She decided to confront Dr. Heavenly in a way that no one saw coming. She didn't just want to have a conversation, she wanted to hold Dr. Heavenly accountable for her actions. And so, Contessa orchestrated an intervention, a moment of reckoning where Dr. Heavenly would have to face the consequences of her words. What happened next took everyone by surprise. Contessa brought in the entire cast for the intervention. This wasn't a private conversation anymore, this was going to be a public confrontation, one where Dr. Heavenly would be held accountable by more than just Contessa. The tension in the room was palpable. The cast, who had witnessed the fallout between the two women, now had a front-row seat to the drama that had been brewing for so long. Contessa wasted no time in addressing the issue head-on. She called out Dr. Heavenly for airing out her personal struggles, particularly her marriage, on her YouTube channel. Contessa was direct and unflinching in her criticism. She emphasized that Dr. Heavenly's behavior wasn't just a one-time slip-up, it had become a pattern. Heavenly had used her platform to publicly criticize her castmates, making their personal lives the subject of gossip and judgment. And for Contessa, enough was enough. She wasn't going to let her marriage or her personal struggles be content for Dr. Heavenly's growing YouTube audience. Dr. Heavenly, however, wasn't receptive to this intervention. Instead of owning up to the harm she had caused, she immediately went on the defensive. She insisted that she was just sharing her opinions and that if people didn't like what she had to say, they didn't have to watch her videos. But for Contessa and the other women in the room, it wasn't just about opinions. It was about respect, boundaries, and trust. And at that moment, it became clear that Dr. Heavenly didn't fully grasp the weight of her actions. As the intervention turned into a heated confrontation, emotions ran high. Dr. Heavenly's refusal to acknowledge the pain she had caused only fueled the fire. The situation escalated quickly, and before long, what was meant to be a moment of accountability had turned into a full-blown argument. The women were no longer just talking about hurt feelings, they were confronting years of tension and unresolved issues. The question on everyone's mind was whether Dr. Heavenly would ever truly take responsibility for her actions, but the drama didn't stop there. The following season brought even more shocking moments. What had started as a heated argument between two friends spiraled into a full-on war, with accusations, insults, and personal attacks flying in every direction. Dr. Heavenly's refusal to back down from her statements about Contessa's marriage had opened a Pandora's box that neither woman seemed willing to close. And as the feud continued, the cast found themselves caught in the middle, unsure of how to handle the toxic dynamic between the two women. Things reached a boiling point when, during one of the most explosive moments of the season, Contessa dropped a bombshell of her own. In the heat of an argument, Contessa accused Dr. Heavenly's husband, Dr. Damon of cheating. And she didn't just make a vague accusation, she went all in, claiming that Dr. Damon had fathered mixed-race children with other women. The room fell silent. This wasn't just a simple accusation, it was a direct attack on Dr. Heavenly's marriage, the very relationship that she had been defending for years as flawless. But that wasn't all. Contessa didn't stop there. She also alleged that Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon slept in separate bedrooms. These were explosive claims that shook everyone in the room to their core. The woman who had once been so proud of her marriage was now facing serious allegations that threatened to tear apart her carefully crafted image. As if the accusations against Dr. Damon weren't enough, things got even more intense when Dr. Heavenly, desperate to defend herself, made a personal insult about Contessa's appearance. She called out Contessa's teeth in a cruel and unnecessary jab that shocked everyone in the room. This wasn't just an argument anymore, it was a vicious battle, one that was no longer about the marriage or the friendship but about outright disrespect. But the most shocking twist came during the reunion episode. When Andy Cohen asked Contessa about her involvement in spreading the cheating rumors, Contessa doubled down. Instead of backing off, she made a bold statement, saying that she wasn't the one spreading the rumors but that the streets were talking. She claimed that these rumors had been circulating in Atlanta for some time, and Heavenly was the only one who hadn't heard them. This statement sent shockwaves through the group, suggesting that the rumors about Dr. Damon's infidelity weren't just idle gossip. They were part of a larger narrative that had been building for years. As the confrontation raged on, it was clear that there was no coming back from this. The damage was done, and there was no resolution in sight. What had once been a close and meaningful friendship was now completely shattered. And with each passing episode, the feud between Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Contessa only grew more toxic, leaving fans to wonder if reconciliation was even possible. In the end, what happened between Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Contessa is a perfect example of how reality TV can take something personal and turn it into something far larger than life. What started as a simple disagreement about a marriage turned into a public spectacle, filled with accusations, insults, and personal attacks. As for the future of their relationship, only time will tell, but one thing is certain, the fallout from this friendship will continue to play out in front of the cameras, with no end in sight.